Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today we're bringing back an oldie but a goodie. We're going to do a monthly favorites video, and this time, obviously, since we are now in May, we're going to be talking about April. We're going to start off with a plant that you guys, look at my golden photos. Look at how beautiful and happy it is. I have never had a golden pothos that looked this good, like ever. And it's kind of sad because pothos are like the easiest houseplants out there, but in my experience, they are not very forgiving when you aren't great at things like watering, which, hi, not great at watering. I have a tendency to underwater everything, and pothos in particular just really don't do well with that. It's just so much happier now that I'm keeping up with consistent watering. And also it's in this room that is lower light, so it's not drying out as fast. So once it actually does get thirsty, it starts to droop, the leaves get a lot softer. And so basically whenever I see that, I take this plant as my test to check all of the other plants on this shelf, because this shelf is actually where I keep this plant, and it just looks so beautiful. Draping and cascading down the shelf is exactly what I wanted and like pictured for the shelving unit. But you can see we have like at the bottom, my pothos, if they grew, the growth towards the bottom would get really small, but this is so big. Like compared to the growth at the top, this is so big and nice. And that's like that on like all of the branches. She is a catch. Like she looks so good. So what's my hack? Water it. That's the hack. Spring is time for repotting, and there's lots of dirt flying all over the place in the springtime, which is why I really love having a nice big repotting mat. This one is from RT1 Home. They sent this to me years and years ago, and I have used it all of that time. It has been such a wonderful product for me. So as you can see, it just has a lot of surface area. This is, I think, the large size. They have a couple different sizes. And then on the corners, there are buttons, and then it creates like a closed-in work surface. There's a lot of versions of this, like on Etsy. You can also DIY it. Lots of people out there have made these. Having a repotting mat, I think, is super important to just keep the mess centralized, because for me, sometimes I just don't want to make a mess and I just end up neglecting plant care because of that. But having a space that is dedicated to being gross and containing all of the soil is really nice and helps me just feel better about doing plant care on my kitchen countertop. Although I do often, I want to say bareback, but I don't know if that's the phrase, but I do often just do bareback plant chores on bareback plant chores on my countertops. I don't know about that. I don't know how that's gonna go over. By the way, I'm gonna have all of these things linked down below with some other varieties too. Okay, so this one is kind of a 2-for-1, but we're gonna focus on the plant first. Look at my prayer plant. This is another plant, like my pothos, that I have never had one that was ever this happy. Like, she is blooming. And that is not a bloom that started at the nursery and then happened in my home. Like, this is front to back, start to finish bloom that has occurred in my home. And I really attribute the success of this plant to this self-watering pot, which is why this is a 2-fer. So if you watch my plant chores videos, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about these, but like it's just revolutionized my plant care, and I can't stop talking about it. So this is a self-watering pot. There's lots of different types of self-watering pots, but if you are a person who has a busy life, you work full-time and you also care for plants, you have kids, you just forget to water your plants, hello ADHDers, all of these things. You need a little bit of assistance with taking care of your plants and watering them. I would suggest using a self-watering pot. Again, there's many different varieties out there. This one has a clear basin so you can see inside. And a lot of people, when I first brought these out, were like, wait, are they gonna get all gross and have like algae in them and stuff? And so far, I have no algae in any of mine, but it also does not get hit by direct sun very often. I got these on Amazon, and they also sell them with like different color outsides where it's a little bit darker, so less likely to have algae and stuff like that. But I really like the way that the clear looks, and I can get away with it in this house. I have many different plants in self-watering pots now that are hanging on my pulley system. I have philodendron, I have Hoya, I have another pothos, I have a ripsalis, which a lot of people were like, I don't think that ripsalis is gonna like that self-watering pot very much. But I am very excited to announce that It's putting out a ton of new growth since I put it in the self-watering pot, which it was never doing before. Like I've had that Ripsalis for years and it was completely stagnant, doing absolutely nothing. So for now, it seems to be happy. Not to say that that's going to be a forever thing, but it seems to be really happy. And plants that normally are really difficult for me to take care of just because of their watering needs have become so easy and fun to take care of now that I have that system. And I'm interested now to explore the world of ferns so much more confidently, because if you watched my 2025 goals video, I discussed how I wanted to try ferns, and I was like bringing it up, but I was still hesitant about how I would do it. And now that I have discovered the world of self-watering pots, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'm 100% confident that I could do this. I think a big fern on top of my plant cabinet would look really pretty because that's in here now too. Yeah, lots of plant updates have been happening. So if you haven't seen my plant tours videos, you should watch them. Miss Prayer plant is doing absolutely wonderful. This is a lemon lime Maranta, if you're wondering the specific variety. It has like nice yellow, light green bands. It's just super pretty. And I would consider getting a red Maranta now that I know that like self-watering pot is going to make it happy. Like this is truly the biggest one I've ever had in my life. And it is so happy, putting out so much new growth. And I just cannot wait for it to just keep cascading and getting longer and longer. This is about an 8.5 inch one. They also have a 6.5 inch and a 4-inch size. I've tried out all 3 of those sizes and they are all amazing, performing exactly the same across the board. So yeah, highly recommend. The next thing that I want to introduce you to is a soil scoop. And if you've never used a soil scoop before, they're amazing, and absolutely was another thing that changed my life in the realm of like mess and dealing with soil. Something about me is I really don't like when my hands are dirty. I also really don't like when my fingernails are dirty, which is why I usually keep my nails pretty short. I just really don't like the way it feels like sensory wise, and I will sometimes get my hands in soil, but typically that's when I'm like doing outdoor gardening. I don't know why, but for indoor gardening, it just feels gross to me. So I have been using this soil scoop pretty much since I moved into this house. So like 6 or 7 months, and I really, really like it. I have another one that is also from RT1 Home that is like basically this shape without the handle. So you just hold on to it like this, and that's great too. I will link those ones below. And I just wanted to try one with a handle to see if I would have like extra dexterity, or if I felt like my hands, sometimes your hands still get dirty even if you're using a soil scoop. But anyway, it also helps just like putting soil into a pot, because the pots aren't like massive pots. Most of our pots are like max 8 inches. So it just helps you put the soil in directionally. I'm spilling soil on the ground. There's like little bits of dust. So yeah, this one I would recommend. It's by Rosebud Home Goods. I got it on TikTok Shop. I'm considering doing a TikTok Shop houseplant gadgets and tools, and maybe even plants, because people sell plants on TikTok Shop. So if you want to see that, please let me know down below. I might or might not have already placed an order and have products in my cabinet from TikTok Shop, but I was like, I don't know if people are going to care about this. So let me know if you want to see a review on some really common TikTok Shop houseplant things. But anyway, this would definitely count as a part of that video, and it's a 10 out of 10. I really like this a lot. It's 3D printed, so keep that in mind, but it doesn't affect, like, still obviously really good quality. It just has like a little bit of that fun texture that 3D printed things have. I mean, gardeners use things like this. I think this is called a trowel. I don't know. I have it because I garden as well. So, I mean, this is like the houseplant version and this is the outside version. Clearly, you can use something like this on your houseplants, but I find that this makes a lot less mess because everything is kind of contained in this cup, whereas this one, things can like fall off to the side, which isn't a big deal when you're working outside in the garden, but it's a little bit more annoying when you're inside. You guys, we're gonna finish strong with this leaf. Well, just this whole plant in general, but this leaf, can you believe how big this is? So this is an Anthurium Bassier luxurians cross. And when I bought this plant, actually I didn't buy this plant, this was gifted to me when I visited Ecuador in San Diego. And I bought a bunch of plants, and then the person who was working there at the time was like, here, take this one too, like try this out and see what happens. The biggest leaf on it at the time, I think, was this big. Like this is one of the original leaves. A lot of the original leaves are no longer with me. I think this might have been another original leaf, but as you can see, they sized up pretty quickly, and they have just the most beautiful, deep green color. Like this is probably like the most beautiful leaf that just shows so much depth. So this one is on the newer side as well as this one. So there's two plants in here. There is a mother plant and an offshoot baby plant. So this huge leaf that came out is on the mother plant. And the mother plant really didn't have very many leaves just a couple months ago, and suddenly she put this out, which is really exciting. This actually lives in my IKEA greenhouse cabinet, and I haven't had the lights plugged in quite a while, nor have I had the fans on, which is not good, but it's getting really, really humid in there. And I guess it's really enjoying that because this leaf is absolutely pristine. Like Anthurium need pretty high humidity, especially when they're pushing out a brand new leaf, or if you can water them a lot more often, that can kind of offset lower humidity. With the high humidity, it's keeping the soil moist for longer, and also the leaf is able to just continue growing, and it's not like getting punctures or getting stuck to itself or something like that. This leaf is broken at the bottom because it actually started growing through the holes on my pegboard, and I don't know how it happened, but I didn't catch it in time, and I had to just kind of like rip it out, which was really sad. But it was in the process when it was like still rolled up in a little taquito and it was coming out, and it must have just like landed in the hole. Like, you guys ever heard of like plant penetration, when one leaf of a monstera, and when it's new, it like goes through a fenestration of another leaf? It's kind of funny when it happens. But anyway, brand new leaf on my Anthurium Bassier luxurians cross. I wonder if that plant has a nickname now, because that's a mouthful to keep saying. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while we chat about some April favorites. I really missed doing these videos. I just think it's fun to chat about the plants that are kind of standing out in my collection, because I do have kind of a large collection and things can kind of get pushed to the back, or I don't think about them as often. So it's actually a really good mindfulness practice for me to like stay present in my collection and thankful in my collection, to pick out a couple plants every month that really shined extra, and some products that also shined. So if you missed these videos and you liked having this back, please comment down below and let me know. It's important to me to make videos that you guys want to see. So yeah, leave me any feedback if you have it, if you want to see more of this. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.